Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race and Strategy Guide. We're off to Sarthe de la Sarthe, better known as Le Mans. It's the no chicane variation and we are in the Group 4 machinery. We've got 5 laps to get around, tyre wear just at ×1, fuel just at ×1 as well. We have the full suite of racing tyres available, soft, medium, hard, inters and wets. There's no mandatory rules on those tyres either. BOP is on, damage is light, it's a rolling start and slipstream is real. So yes, these settings have caused a fair amount of speculation because with the tyre wear just being at ×1, fuel just being at ×1, there's no point in having all the racing tyres available unless there is going to be some weather. That's something we're going to look at a little bit later on in the video, but until then, let's just discuss how this track is going to work out with the Group 4 machinery. So with the no chicane variation of Sarthe de la Sarthe, you've got the run from Tetra Rouge all the way down to Mulsanne corner, and it actually takes up around about 1 minute 30 of the 4-minute lap, so it's a straight blast. Not surprisingly, straight line speed is going to be very important to car choice, given that you're going to be on that throttle for the best part of 90 seconds. So I've tested every single car in Group 4 and set the conditions to 0.0 metres per second on the wind. Ran them down from Tetra Rouge down to Mulsanne corner and measured their top speed, and this is what I've discovered. At 166 miles per hour, the Bugatti Veyron is slightly ahead of everything else. Then you've got the Lamborghini Huracan at 165. At 164, you've got the Nissan GTR, Dodge Viper and the Toyota Supra. 163, the Ferrari 458, McLaren 650S. Yes, your eyes don't deceive you. The Alfa Romeo 4C is 163 miles an hour. The Corvette C7 and the Aston Martin, and then a selection of cars at 162. Everything else is either at 161 or below. Some cars are unbelievably slow. The Alfa Romeo 155 only does 150 miles an hour. But yeah, I think it's those sort of top 5 cars that I've selected there: the Bugatti Veyron, Lamborghini Huracan, Nissan GTR, Dodge Viper, Toyota Supra. They're going to be the 5 cars that are probably going to be the most competitive in this one, given their straight line speed. So yeah, I can't really see it being anything other than those 5 cars that people are going to be picking. So that's the car choice. Let's move on to the strategy, or to be more precise, the lack of strategy if that weather remains dry. Now we have the choice of the medium, soft and hard tyres. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever to not be on those soft tyres. Make sure you've got them selected before the race starts, as the tyre wear is at ×1. You can see here, we're coming to the end of a 5-lap run. I was just doing some testing here. This is my kind of just pick up and play, get a little bit of practice in before the week starts. You can see there's 0 tyre wear there on the soft tyres. It's going to be absolutely negligible. Pretty much as much of a sprint race as you can possibly get, with the tyres and the fuel providing no issue whatsoever. Finishing time is going to come in at around about 20 minutes, maybe about 19 minutes 30 for the super fast aliens. It does kind of strike me as a little bit odd that the race we're doing here in Group 4 cars is actually longer than what we normally get whenever we visit here in Group 1 cars. But yeah, PD doing PD things. A couple of things to be careful of this race though is of course those track limits. We mentioned this in a recent video, how critical they can be to your race. It's the small little margins. This race is going to be very, very tight with the slipstream down the Mulsanne straight, so you know the field spread is not going to be great here. So if you're picking up those penalties, they're going to be absolutely crucial to your race. And sketchy rear ends. There's a lot of these braking zones where you're not quite braking in a straight line because you're approaching the corner at such high speeds, and the rear end of these, even these 4-wheel drive cars that seem to be quite dominant, are actually quite sketchy coming into there. So do bear that in mind. Definitely something that can be race ending if you're not careful. But the big thing we need to kind of talk about, or we're going to move into speculation mode more than anything else, is will there be rain? The settings for the race, with all the tyres being available, the tyre wear being so low, no mandatory rules on those tyres, sets it up perfectly for there to be some dynamic random weather in there. Now Nenkai, who is the chap on Twitter who provides all the info for the daily races, has obviously been asked by people on Twitter whether there's going to be weather. He's kind of came out and said that he can see no evidence of there being any rain. However, I'm not sure, you know, if that's going to be 100% correct. He's obviously got the data there in front of him, but whether that could be changed as the week approaches, maybe when he's checking out on Thursday or Friday, that can then be changed subsequently before the race goes live. The settings definitely seem set up for the weather. It would be fantastic if that was to be the case. We've been crying out for a kind of dynamic weather race for a long time. And Le Mans, let's be honest, it's one of these races where it rains quite a lot. So if you're going to pick a track for a little bit of rain, Le Mans would certainly be fairly high up on the list. And yeah, it's just going to make this race so much more interesting, so much more dynamic, pardon the pun, if that's going to be the case. Because with the settings being the way they are, you know, it will be an interesting enough race if it's dry, with the slipstream, you know, the penalties. It looks like there's a selection of cars that can be quite competitive with each other. You know, the Bugatti Veyron's the fastest in the straight line, but it's definitely going to be the quickest through the Porsche curves, so the Lamborghini, the GTR will be better there. But yeah, really just hope that maybe that rain is going to be a factor. It'd be great if it was absolutely random. Sometimes it's dry, sometimes a little shower at the end, sometimes there's a wee shower in the middle, sometimes it starts wet. That would be absolutely awesome to see. And I don't really see a reason why it can't be that way. You know, it's all there for them to do. They just need to pull the plug, you know, pull the trigger basically, not pull the plug, pull the trigger and make it happen. But yeah, if you're watching this video, you're probably already aware whether it's happened or not. I really do hope that we're getting some dynamic weather for this one. If not, interesting enough race as it will be, very close, competitive cars, slipstream, avoid those penalties, should be fun, but dynamic weather would make it all the more fun, I think you would agree. Let's finish off with a lap guide. You're looking for the second of the total boards coming into the first chicane here in the Group 4 cars. I think this is the first time I've actually went through there in bonnet cam for a very long time. Nice to have some visibility for a change. When you're in cockpit camera, that corner is significantly more difficult. So you're looking for just after the end of the cones on the right hand side as your kind of reference to kind of dab the brakes to get it into that very fast chicane. You're full throttle through the second part. You will have to give it a little bit of a lift through Tetra Rouge here, unlike the Group 1 cars where it is absolutely flat. Actually makes it an actual corner, which is nice. We shall fast forward down the Mulsanne straight. That's going to be the scene of slipstream trains, bump drafting trains, mayhem coming down in here to Mulsanne corner. Very tricky braking zone. You're coming towards the corner at such a great speed that you're actually going to have to, you can't kind of quite get the straight line braking, so do be very careful of the rear end of the car skidding out as you come into that braking zone. It does turn out braking from 165 miles an hour down into a slow corner is quite tricky even in these four-wheel drive cars. Another tricky braking zone. I come down a gear before the curve, get the car straightened up, brake in a straight line, and yeah, you're going to see people spinning off there as well. Coming into Arnage, one of the toughest corners just before the 50 metre board, down into the third gear in the Nissan GTR. Avoid the wall on the outside. You will see people in that wall at some point, either by accident or by dirty driving. And then coming into the Porsche curves, unlike the Porsche 919 Hybrid, you are going to have to drive these curves, particularly the first one. Do be very careful. Even on the soft tyres, the Group 4 cars just don't have that kind of downforce to get through those corners as quick as you probably expect. They're relying on the mechanical grip a little bit more. And you're looking for this red board here, so it's the third of the red boards on the right hand side. That's your kind of dab the brakes, turn in point for the last of the Porsche curves. Coming up to the double chicane that finishes the lap at Le Mans. You're looking for where the kind of pit lane starts, just here, where the kind of curb starts and the pit lane starts as your braking reference, down into third or fourth gear, clatter the curbs through the last chicane, get on the power nice and early if you're in a four-wheel drive car, use all the curb on the outside, and that is a lap of Le Mans, Circuit de la Sarthe with no chicane. And yeah, as I said, I think it'll be a fun week if there's no rain. It'll be a tense week, it'll be close racing, slipstream battles, bump draft cars, Mulsanne corners going to have so much carnage, it's unbelievable. But yeah, let's hope that rain is going to be a factor. I really hope so. It'll make the race, it'll make the week so much more enjoyable. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be off work for this one as well, so we'll definitely just live stream it a good number of times, so do join me for that if you can. We've also got GTWS coming up as well. I think that's the Mazda 787B around Daytona, so that should have the requisite amount of carnage to make it interesting as well. But yeah, fun week coming up, I think, whether the rain comes or not. I really do hope the rain comes, as I've said about 10 times already during the course of this video. But if you've made it to this point, hopefully the video has been useful in some way, shape or form. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.